Hey there, Crash Course fans! Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of economic history, Dominican Republic edition. This island has a rich and complex past that has shaped its present in many ways. Before the Europeans arrived, this Caribbean island pulsed with the life of the Taíno people. They were the original inhabitants living in harmony with the land and sea. These weren't your high-flying financiers, they were masters of subsistence agriculture. They cultivated the land with skill and knowledge passed down through generations. We're talking cassava, sweet potatoes, maize, a real earth-to-table lifestyle. Their farming practices were sustainable and ensured that they had enough to feed their communities. Now, when we say subsistence, it doesn't mean they were barely scraping by. In fact, they had a thriving community with plenty of food and resources. Archaeological evidence suggests the Taíno had a pretty good thing going. They left behind artifacts that tell us about their daily lives and their sophisticated society. They lived in organized villages, traded with neighboring islands, and even had time for arts and crafts. Their culture was rich and vibrant, with a strong sense of community. Their economy was all about balance with nature, a concept we could learn a thing or two about today. They understood the importance of sustainability long before it became a buzzword, but, as we all know, the arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1492 changed everything. The European explorers brought with them new ideas, technologies, and unfortunately, diseases. It wasn't just the clash of cultures or the tragic consequences of disease. The arrival of the Europeans marked the beginning of a new era that would transform the island forever. The Spanish conquest brought a whole new economic system to Hispaniola, and the Taíno way of life would be forever altered. The island's history is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its people. Okay folks, buckle up, because the Spanish arrival meant one thing for the Dominican Republic's economy: sugar. The Spanish colonists quickly realized the potential of the fertile land and tropical climate for cultivating sugarcane, a crop that was in high demand back in Europe. See, Europeans had developed a serious sweet tooth, and the Caribbean climate was perfect for growing sugarcane. Sugar became a highly sought-after commodity, driving the European powers to establish vast plantations across the Caribbean islands. But there was a catch: producing sugar on a large scale required a massive labor force. The labor-intensive nature of sugar production meant that a large number of workers were needed to plant, harvest, and process the cane. Enter the transatlantic slave trade, one of history's darkest chapters. European colonists turned to Africa, forcibly transporting millions of Africans across the Atlantic to work as slaves on these plantations. Millions of Africans were forcibly brought to the Americas, including the Dominican Republic, to work on these brutal sugar plantations. The conditions were harsh, and the work was grueling, leading to immense suffering and high mortality rates among the enslaved population. The island's economy became completely centered around this single export, enriching Spanish colonists while causing immeasurable suffering. The wealth generated from sugar production flowed into the hands of the colonists, creating a stark divide between the rich and the poor. This plantation system left a lasting legacy on the Dominican Republic. The remnants of these plantations can still be seen today, serving as a reminder of this dark period in history. It led to the near extinction of the Taíno people, replaced by a racially diverse population descended from European colonists, enslaved Africans, and later, indentured servants from other parts of the world. This mix of cultures and ethnicities has shaped the unique identity of the Dominican Republic. Land ownership became highly unequal, concentrated in the hands of a few wealthy families. This concentration of land and wealth created a legacy of inequality that persisted for generations. This set the stage for centuries of economic inequality. The impact of the sugar plantation economy is still felt today, influencing the social and economic landscape of the Dominican Republic. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the Dominican Republic finally won its independence, first from Spain in 1821, then from neighboring Haiti in 1844. You'd think independence would mean economic prosperity, right? Well, not so fast. The young nation faced a mountain of challenges. The sugar industry, once the backbone of the economy, was struggling to compete with other sugar-producing nations. The Dominican Republic tried to diversify its exports, focusing on products like coffee and tobacco. But political instability, a lack of infrastructure, and limited access to foreign markets made economic progress a real uphill battle. This period saw the rise of powerful local strongmen, or who often prioritized their own interests over national development. The Dominican Republic even declared bankruptcy in 1907, leading to foreign intervention, this time from the United States. So much for a smooth transition to independence. Section 4. Uncle Sam's Shadow Intervention and Modernization. Alright, Crash Course viewers, let's talk about the United States' role in the Dominican Republic's economic history. In 1916, the U.S. Marines landed on Dominican shores, marking the beginning of an 8-year military occupation. Their stated goal? To restore order and stability. The U.S. occupation brought about some significant changes. They modernized the country's infrastructure, building roads, bridges, and a national communication system. They also reformed the financial system, stabilizing the currency and encouraging foreign investment. Sounds good, right? Well, it's complicated. While these reforms had some positive long-term effects, they were often implemented with little regard for local needs or desires. The occupation also deepened the Dominican Republic's dependence on the United States, both economically and politically. This legacy of intervention would continue to shape the country's future. Section 5. The Trujillo Era, Iron Fist, Shifting Fortunes. The U.S. occupation ended in 1924, but it paved the way for the rise of one of the 20th century's most enduring dictators, Rafael Trujillo. The departure of American forces left a power vacuum that Trujillo was quick to exploit. Trujillo's rule from 1930 to 1961 was brutal and repressive, marked by human rights abuses and the suppression of any opposition. His regime was characterized by a pervasive cult of personality, with his image omnipresent in public spaces. But here's the twist. Trujillo's economic policies were surprisingly complex. While he was a dictator, he also had a keen understanding of economic strategies that could benefit the nation, albeit often for his own gain. Early in his regime, he focused on consolidating power and enriching himself and his cronies. This involved a systematic approach to seizing control over the country's wealth and resources. He nationalized industries, confiscated land, and essentially turned the Dominican Republic into his personal fiefdom. The wealth disparity grew, with Trujillo and his inner circle amassing vast fortunes. However, as Trujillo's grip on power solidified, he shifted tactics. Recognizing the need for broader support, he began to invest in public works. He invested in infrastructure projects, promoted import substitution industrialization, and even managed to pay off the country's foreign debt in 1947. These moves were designed to create a facade of progress and stability. These policies, combined with a period of global economic growth, led to significant economic expansion in the 1950s. The Dominican Republic saw new roads, schools, and hospitals being built, which contributed to a temporary sense of prosperity. But this progress came at a steep price: the suppression of basic freedoms and the creation of a culture of fear. Trujillo's secret police ensured that dissent was swiftly and brutally crushed, leaving the populace in a state of constant anxiety.